Welcome, 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 welcome back to another live stream session, another one of our 1883 Club meets sessions. Whether you're joining us now on YouTube, on LinkedIn, or across any of our other channels, we're so excited to have you here. Remember, at all times, you can ask any questions, post any comments in the chat. We'll pick them up towards the end. I am super excited for this conversation. I am really excited to welcome EA from Givers University. EA, how are you doing today?
Doing absolutely great. Thank you for having me on your show. And a big thank you to BD Dalton, who I was actually on his podcast, I think a couple months ago, and him and I just hit it off. And I thought, man, what a great guy. And then he reached out to me with being able to help your organization. And thank you, Daniel, for having me on your great live stream. I look forward to sharing with your listeners.
Awesome. Awesome. As I said, guys, any questions, any comments at all time, please post in the chat. As per usual, we're going to keep things fairly informal. We're going to have a bit of a chat with EA, find out a bit about who he is, the insight that he has to share with you guys, and then really take things from there. As you know, with these meet sessions, it's all about finding interesting people from all sorts of different backgrounds, all sorts of different experience, and seeing how you can take the lessons that they've learned along their journeys and apply it to your entrepreneurial journeys too. Let's jump straight in. Let's jump straight into it. EA, where did it all begin? Where did you come from?
Great question. I'm going to take you all the way back, but I'll keep it short and sweet, which is a challenge for me, you know, because I never say anything in 10 minutes if I can say it in 20, but I'll do my best. Actually, I was raised in Chicago. I'm in the United States and raised in the Chicagoland area, which is central U.S. And my father was a milkman. So, you know, when I was 5 years old, I would help my father on his milk route, and he had a one-man operation and for a company called Twin Oaks Dairy. And so I'd get up at 3 a.m. and, you know, help him load up the truck with milk from these big semis, and they put him in his delivery truck and we deliver to people's houses. So it was very, you know, average, normal, humble upbringing, if you will, nothing special about that. And then at the ripe old age of 16, I decided to take my first step in becoming successful, and I became a janitor. Now, I didn't mind being a janitor because business was always picking up. What? Anyway, so so here I was, the ripe old age of 16, and two extraordinary events happened to me when I was 16 years old. I was able to be bonded, which means insured, so that if I was cleaning a place and my buffer went astray and hits a piece of equipment, the insurance company would pay for it, right? So it also allowed me to be in really expensive places and really expensive homes when I cleaned them as a janitor. One of the homes I cleaned every single Wednesday, I was in her house every single Wednesday, was a lady. When I say her name, it won't mean anything until I make the movie reference. Her name is June Martino. And when I met her, she had the third most controlling stock in McDonald's. There was a movie out a couple of years ago, and it's still available on streaming and probably will be for years because it's a pretty good watch. It's called The Founder. It's with Did you see it?
Yeah, so it's available here on platforms like Amazon Prime. You can.
Okay, excellent. Michael Keaton plays Ray Kroc, right? Now, I was born and raised in the Oak Brook area where the world headquarters of McDonald's was for decades and decades. It's since moved, but it was there. So June Martino lived there, and in the movie, Michael Keaton plays Ray Kroc. And by the way, the movie, very Hollywood spin, you know, I mean, it's based on events that happened, but the way they're portrayed, and Ray Kroc really wasn't that way. I mean, I lived the experience in my life, right? In fact, the very first McDonald's franchise in Des Plaines that's shown in the movie, we drove by it at the end of the milk route every single day. I mean, so, you know, I lived this phenomenon. In the movie, Michael Keaton is constantly talking, as Ray Kroc, is constantly talking to a lady outside his office. That lady is June Martino. That's the lady whose house I cleaned every Wednesday. All right. So, and when I met her, she was an icon. She had the third most controlling stock in McDonald's. And, you know, I mean, everyone knew who June Martino was at that point. And so here I am at 16 years old, cleaning her house, which was $1 million mansion. She's got a full-time maid and butler. And I'm watching her every time I'm in there. And I got to tell you, Daniel, I'm amazed at this. She's so approachable, so nice, so easy to talk to. And that's astonishing to me. And I'm thinking, what's the deal here? You know, I mean, I don't see any superpowers. I don't see any, she's not like an alien. why did she make it? And why am I cleaning her house? Right. And I was there to buff the floors with a special buffing pad and clean the swimming pool. And by the way, Daniel, loved cleaning the garage, because in order to clean the garage, I had to pull out the Rolls Royce. And I got to sit in a car that was 10 lifetimes of my income. Right. And then I would go home at night and I would drive my Rolls Canardly, which basically means it rolls down one hill and can hardly make it up the next, right? So that was my car, Rolls Canardly. So here I am in June's house, and I think one day she was in a real good mood, and I thought, man, I'm going to go up and ask her a question. So I went up to her and I asked her, I said, June, now how you doing? She said, oh, great. And we said hi, and she was very approachable. And I said, can I ask you a question? She said, sure. And I said, could you tell me about it? She said, well, what's that? And I said, well, the whole McDonald's thing. I'm not kidding, Daniel. She put her arm around me, brought me in the kitchen, told me the entire story all day long, because I asked her in the morning, even had the maid and butler bring in us food, right? So she could keep telling me the story. And in the movie, I don't know if you remember this one part, because she told me this decades before the movie came out. The event happened. It just didn't happen the way, the Hollywood spin was on it. But there's a part in the movie where June, who kept the books, goes to Ray Kroc, Michael Keaton, and says, we're out of money. And that perpetuates him calling the brothers, and they have an argument on the phone. He says, I need more percentage. I need more percentage. Hang up the phone. Didn't happen that way, but the event took place. So she told me about this event, and she said Ray and her made a decision that she would continue working for him for no pay. There was no money. Okay. She worked for no pay. He would give her worth less than zero company stock, and agree to take some of the bill collector phone calls if they called her and wanted money. So I asked her, I'm 16 years old. I said, why'd you do it? And she sat back, Daniel, and stared at me with this blank look on her face. And I'll never forget the 10 seconds that went by. She stared at me, and I could tell she's really thinking when I said, why did you do it? When she spoke, it made the hair stand up on the back of my neck. And I'll never forget what she said, the way she said it, and my first thought afterwards. When I said, June, why did you work for nothing? Why'd you do that? She said to me, because I believed in Ray. And my first thought, Daniel, was, that's it. I need to find me a Ray Kroc. I need to find someone who can bring me under their wing. It certainly didn't work out bad for her. I'm cleaning her $1 million home here. I don't even know what I need to know. I don't know what I don't know, let alone what I need to know. I'm son of a milkman, burnt out janitor who thinks my fun time is getting free songs on a jukebox at 2 a.m. when I'm cleaning a bowling alley, So what do I need? I need to find out. So I just threw it out there, Daniel. I just threw it out there. Where's my Ray Kroc? Where would I find him? And it wasn't 2 or 3 months later, I got a phone call at that same janitorial service. And the phone rang. It was after hours. I was talking to the business owner, and we were friends, and it was after dinner time, and I'd already punched out. And phone rings. He picks up the phone, has a conversation, hangs it up. He says, well, some guy just called from Detroit, and he's opening a diamond store, and they need to see some carpeting because they're doing this whole build out. And I said, okay, what's that got to do with me? He said, I need you to go. I said, I'm not going. I said, I've already punched out. I've been cleaning all day. I'm tired. I'm exhausted. He goes, no, I need you to go. You have to measure this carpet. I said, Jerry, the name of the owner. I said, I've never done an estimate on a carpet job. I can vacuum them and shampoo them and stuff, but I don't know how to measure because you got to line up the threads and everything. I don't know how to do that. He goes, well, you measure this way and call me on the phone. I said, Jerry, I'm not going to do it. Forget it. He said, I'll tell you what, if you go, I'll give you your pick of any Saturday off you want. Now, for a janitor, that's a huge negotiation chip because we work, when we work when businesses are closed. So Saturday, when they're closed, we're cleaning morning till night. So I said, any Saturday I want off? He said, yeah, any Saturday. I said, okay, Jerry. So I opened up the hatchback of my Rolls Canardly, and I'm throwing in the carpet samples. Now, setting the stage for your listeners. I don't want to go. I'm tired. I'm exhausted. I've been cleaning all day. I'm mentally fatigued. I'm about ready to do something I've never done before with no one looking over my shoulder. So I'll probably do it wrong. And I have all these reasons I'm not doing it. I don't want to do it. There's only one reason I'm doing it. The free Saturday. Get Saturday off, right? Little do I know, Daniel, I am getting ready to meet the man who will change the trajectory of my life forever. My Ray Kroc, who will become the father I never had, even though I had a father, and I became the son he never had, even though he had a son. My business mentor, multi-millionaire many times over, etc. So we met, and we immediately hit it off. The carpet was a no sale because he wanted plush carpet for in the diamond store, and we had just office grade, commercial grade stuff. So I'm throwing the samples back in my Rolls Canardly, and he offers me a job. And I said, nah, I'm all set. I'm a janitor. I don't know anything about diamonds. He goes, no. He said, I'll teach you. And I said, listen, all I know about diamonds is they're expensive, and someday a lady's going to ask me for one. That's all I know about diamonds. And he said, no, I'll teach you. So I leave, and I come back after about halfway home, and I say, okay, well, what do you have in mind? And one thing led to another, and I began working for him full time. Now, I want to share with you what I'm about ready to say now is not to be braggadocious to your, I want to impress upon your listeners the importance of having a good qualified mentor, listening to them, and the power of applied proper knowledge. See, knowledge is not power. That cliche is not true. Knowledge has never been power. I've met many educated idiots in my life. They know all the information, they can spew it back at you, but they have no implementation or execution skills. And that's the difference between education and wisdom. Wisdom is knowing what to do and when to do it. Education means you just read it from a book, right? This man truly was wise. And because I had my only superpower, Daniel, the only thing I had was the ability to say, man, I don't know about that. Could you teach me that, please? I had that ability. I had the ability to humble myself down. And today everyone wants to look good, right? I want to be the best guy, and my branding is going to make me the best. And my superpower was the exact opposite. I had the ability to humble myself down, say, I don't know, but I'd love to learn that. Could you teach me? So my business mentor taught me. At the ripe old age of 19, I asked the full question to him, and I said, his name was Sam Robbins. I said, Sam, will you teach me everything? And he said, yes, I will, but I want one thing from you. And I said, what's that? He said, when the time is right, and you will know that time, he said, I want you to teach as many people as you possibly can everything that I teach you. So at 19 years old, Daniel, I made a vow, I made an oath, and I made a commitment to my business mentor that today is Givers University. But because of all of that information I gleaned from him over the years, just to let you know, to tell you an amazing story of how incredible this man was. He told me about how he made his first $1 million, right? Because he was a multimillionaire at that point. And I told him I wanted to be a millionaire, right? And he said, well, I can tell you the first thing you have to do. And I said, what's that? He said, well, you're going to have to get $1 million. I said, yeah, I figured that. I said, yeah, that's right. He said, but I'll tell you the hardest part. And I said, well, what's going to be the hardest part? He said, this is the hardest part. Believing you're worth it. And I can share with you that he was exactly right. But I was dumb enough to listen to someone who had done it, not someone who was a wannabe. And I've crossed the T's and dot the I's. By the time I was 21, I was chairman of the board of that diamond company and was a millionaire at 21 years old. At 33 years old, in 1989, was the first year I ever earned $1 million in personal income after I paid my personal taxes. That's not business income. That's like personal salary. And after I paid my taxes, I had $1 million in my pocket from that year. Now, was there anything spectacular about me? No. You know what I was? A conduit. I just applied spectacular things that I learned from an amazing mentor that taught me and rewired my mind because I was thinking wrong. I was thinking like a son of a milkman, burnt out janitor. And the wires weren't right up there. To show you how amazing he was, he told me about how he made his first $1 million, going back to that story. It was during the Depression era, all right? Because he was obviously quite a bit older than me. And it was during the Depression era, and people had lost their fortunes jumping off of buildings. People are in long soup lines. And he earned $1 million in a year. Now, you have to think, that person really knows something. If you can earn $1 million, so for your listeners, if you think you have business challenges, are there soup lines going up and down? Are people jumping off of buildings because they've lost their fortune and everything else? That's where he started. And the story, I'll just give you a quick snippet because there's a lot of great nuggets in it. And that was, he walked by a store every day that had sewing machines, and the sewing machines were collecting dust. He could tell that. So he went into the owner of the sewing machine store and said, say, would you mind if I sold some of those sewing machines? And the guy said, no, please do that. I mean, they're just collecting dust. No, it's a depression era. No one has any money. No one, people are standing in soup lines, let alone buying sewing machines. He says, well, I'll tell you what, he said, the way I'd like to sell them, he says, is I would like to sell them to women on payments. He said, and I'll deliver it. I'll go to bat for the value of the sewing machine. And he said, and we'll split the payments. And the sewing machine owner, who was getting zero sales anywhere, said, yeah, no problem. So my mentor went around and started hiring women to work from home, and everyone needed money to make clothing. And he sold them the sewing machines, and then they gave him payments, and he would go and collect all the payments. But it didn't stop there. When they made money, then he would trade them into a nicer sewing machine after they started making a few dollars. And then it didn't stop there. As they made this clothing, Sam Robbins, my partner, bought the clothing from them that they made and sold it to stores, who later on then sold the clothing as handmade clothing. And he made money on every single step of those 4 parts. And guess what? Made $1 million in 1 year in the heart of the Depression era, when people are jumping off of buildings in the soup lines. And he did it with no money.
Wow.
So I also, in that story, are the 4 key ingredients for any business to be successful. And there are only 4 ways to grow a business. Number 1, you have to increase your customers. Number 2, you increase the number of the size of a transaction with a customer. Number 3, you increase the number of transactions in a year. And number 4, you prolong the longevity of the customer's lifetime. And I could identify for you in the story of my mentor with that sewing machine story and how he made $1 million, how all 4 of those things were implemented. And those became so much of the cornerstone of things that he taught me over our time together. And I was very, very blessed to be able to be with him and to be able to learn things. And then also, I was fortunate for 2 years. I had a business talk show, and for 2 years on a live business talk show, I interviewed over 1,000 millionaires.
Wow.
Over 1,000 millionaires, and looked for the common denominators between all of them. And it was astonishing. You know, some of the things, Daniel, were, all of them had a time in their life where everything told them to stop. Don't go forward. Their friend said, stop, throw in the towel. It's not going to work. Their neighbor said, stop. Their family said, stop. The economy said, stop. The political arena said, stop. Every single one of those millionaires, with no exception, Daniel, had an instance where they had that time period in their life. And every one of them took the next step. And some of them, it was amazing. They even used the same words with me. They said, I even took the next step to see if there was anything else that could go wrong, because I thought I had to hit all of them. Did I miss anything? Is there anything did I miss anything that could have gone wrong? And they said, and after they took that next step, when everything told them to stop, they said things began to come together almost effortlessly. And it was extraordinary. And all these people were millionaires. And then all of that information I sifted, and I'm going to share with you the power of information. Through the course of that, then, I ultimately later on started doing trainings for presidents of companies only. And I charged $5,000 per president. I had 50 of them in a room per month, 50 different ones. So if you take 50 times 5,000, I was earning a decent dollar per month. And I did that for 2 years. And with 50 presidents of companies, I taught them, because I learned this stuff, 410 separate ways to build their businesses. And I stood in front of every one of these, and these are presidents of companies that were millionaires and earned and had companies already that were small, medium, and large firms. And I did the same thing that Vince Lombardi, and I don't know if you ever heard of Vince Lombardi, famous football coach.
Yeah.
He always stood in front of everyone and said the same thing. Every year, he started off the football year by saying the same thing. As he stood in front of $1 million football players, he said, gentlemen, This is a football. And he brought them all the way back to basics. So with 50 presidents of companies and I was consulting at that time at $1,500 an hour, which people would think was, ungodly amounts of money, if you will. But it wasn't me. It was because I dumbed up and learned from people a lot smarter. And then I learned how to apply these things. So as a result of this, it ended up being the founding of Givers University, where we have trainings. And one of the things we enjoy doing is being able to show businesses those 4 key areas. How do you grow? How do you build a business? And once you learn these 4 things, I call it the unlimited marketing bank account. Once people learn these things, they'll have all the money they ever need. My business mentor taught me his first lesson in his first $1 million. He had no money to invest, nothing. He was in the same position everyone else was. He didn't have 2 nickels rubbed together. But through an idea, he began to implement that, and he implemented these 4 different ways to grow a business. He earned $1 million in 1 year in the Depression. Extraordinary. I'm still astonished by it. But I can share with you, I had the same benefit in my life because I did what he did. I didn't make it up. So I share with your listeners, you're going to have a time, that my business mentor taught me, every adversity carries with it the seed of an equal or greater benefit, right? So we as leaders have to move aside those leaves and find those seeds of greater benefit. And when we do, and we learn how to do that faster and faster, we become more successful faster and faster because we're not coming from a place of fear. What are the friends are going to say? Or what are the neighbors going to say if I fail? We're not coming from that place because we realize the temporary defeats teach us and have the seeds that we need in order to succeed and go forward. So I want thank you for that's the short version of that answer to your question.
That's awesome. I think even if we finished up right now, there's so much to take away there. Luckily, we've still got some more time, so there's even more to come. That's awesome. That's really cool. One question that's already come in that I just want to pick up on, that I think is really key. How do you? Hang on, let me read this right. How do you know if somebody is the right business mentor for you?
That's a great question. One of the things we teach in Givers University is what's called discernment. First of all, I mentioned that all of your listeners, we love everybody. I say emphatically, we love everybody. But we teach people how to discern, how to separate the person who we love from their deeds, which we may not love. And we teach people recognize the deeds, look at the actual things they're doing. And from that, you can discern who do you want to bring closer into your life, or who should you begin respectfully distancing yourself from because they're going to make you collateral damage when they come in your life. The same is true with a mentor. When selecting a mentor, we actually have checklists that we teach that we want to give to your listeners. In fact, they can have them absolutely free. We want to give them to them. We do it as a giveaway. When someone signs up for our free newsletter, they can download it, and we want them to put it in their pocket because it has the actual deeds you should be looking for. And a good mentor will have and be doing all of these deeds that a giver does on these checklists. So it's not even, it's a very granular approach. It's not broad swaths of innocuous, you should surround yourself with 5 good people. Yeah. But the big question, Daniel, is which 5? How do you know, which 5? And that's what makes that such a great question.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely awesome. I guess following on from that then, again, another one that's come in here is where do you find them? So if you're kind of deciding, who could be the right person, where would you recommend to go and find those people? Cleaning houses sounds like it's one good place to find some really good people.
Yeah, $1 million homes. Say what's the biggest house I could clean? It certainly worked for me. What's amazing is that joining groups, and I have to say, because I'm going to be doing some podcast interviews on the new community of the future. Because today I think by the way, Birmingham Enterprise Community is an awesome. You guys, Daniel, you do an awesome job. Your organization is awesome with what you're doing because you are what I call a puritanical community. So many communities, by contrast, today are saying, I'm going to show you how to build your community. But what they're really saying is, I'm going to show you how to build a hit list of possible customers. You know, it's not a community. Those are customers. Call it what it is. It's a customer list, right? So the term, unfortunately, is getting so watered down because the kind of community that Birmingham Enterprise has, which is a puritanical one that I believe in, is one where everyone joins together. It's like today with so many of the communities, it's like the Old West. You know, they used to circle the wagons, but with the communities today, they circle the wagons and they shoot inward. You know, when they should be learning skills from each other, helping each other, and shooting outward, right? Not making. So there's a big difference between making money with someone or making money off of someone. And many of the communities today are about making money off of someone, which I disagree with. Birmingham stands out as an organization that makes money with you by showing you these are the skills, these are the skill sets. So first of all, being a part of Birmingham is that. And organizations where you can meet these kinds of people and being trained by people that are like that. In fact, I'd like to make an offering, if I may. I'm not able to get in the comments here. Are they open on your end? I'm gonna leave some for your listeners.
I can on one platform, yeah.
Okay. Are you able to post a link and repost it for everyone to see?
Yeah, if you post it in the chat, you can access.
Did that show up?
So I can share that whilst you continue.
Okay. I want to do something that, quite candidly, Daniel, I've never done before. I've never done this before. I'll probably never do it again. But I want to let you know how committed I am to your organization, because I got to tell you, I love what you're doing. And you are at the heart of what I'm going to be preaching on my soapbox, you know, in the next 100 interviews I do on podcasts. And that's a pure canonical organization. So what I've decided to do is not only do I want to help donate some time as just for free training for all of your people, things I learned from my mentor, but this form I posted is going to be for the first 12 people that fill it out. What it is I'm going to donate $18,000 of my consulting time to 12 people, the first 12 that fill out this form. The form has 3 questions on it about their business. And I'm literally going to do a full-blown consultation session that I would do in the past with presidents of companies. And this is no strings, no BS. I'm not there to pitch anything. This is a full-blown, genuine donation that's going to help these 12 people. So it's a 5-minute fill-out form. They click submit on the bottom, and it's only for the first 12 because, quite candidly, I wish I could do it for everyone, but you know, there's a lot of time commitment just in with those 12. So for those that really want, you know, one good, solid consultation with me, one-on-one, looking at their business and how it applies to those 4 things, 4 ways to grow a business, we're going to get down and dirty onto what companies paid me a lot of money in the past for. You know, I had presidents are paying me $5,000 a piece for 36 hours of intense training at 50 people at a time. You know, these are all presidents. Yeah. So for the first 12, fill it out. It's compliments. There's no strings, absolutely free. And it's compliments of BD Dalton. It's compliments of Daniel Evans and compliments of Birmingham Enterprise Community. And that's why I'm putting it forth, because you're a part of an organization that I firmly believe in what they're doing and the way they're doing it, not the way of making money, not the let me get a bunch of referrals. Let's pass cards back and forth. We've all been to those events and they get really old really quick. But when you get a group where you want to upskill together, man, I'll tell you what, you can move mountains. And so I'm very excited. And I decided today with the decision that I wanted to invest in 12 people with, you know, a full-blown consultation, absolutely free. So just fill out the form. I'll send you a Calendly link. We'll get the link. No strings. This is a absolute guaranteed help your business grow. So with that, I appreciate the opportunity. Were you able to repost that for everyone, Daniel?
Yeah. So that's Great. Now gone out on the chats.
Awesome.
Obviously. Thank you so much for that.
And you're welcome. And I, because I, you know, there's so many people today. I just see these businesses and sometimes my heart goes out for them. And I thought, oh, if they just knew, you know, if they, and you can tell the ones that are really have the desire and they're serious, but they just haven't been trained, just like I was as a burnt out janitor. And, you know, and if I hadn't been trained, I'd still be a burnt out janitor. And so I need to hand it on, and we're Givers University. So that's what we do. We do hand it on, you know.
And there's an awesome question actually here that really follows on from that. I really like, so it's one we get quite a lot, but I really like it. If you were going back to the start and back to yourself when you're a janitor, knowing what you know now, what would you be saying to yourself?
I wouldn't be saying anything different. I would be saying pretty much what my mentor taught me, the three phrases, the three words that I'll share with your listeners that I hopefully will impact them. But I will say this, one of the things that was valuable in early age is my business mentor said, get rid of the F-bomb. And that means failure. Don't say the word. Supplant the word failure with temporary defeat, because failure is too eternal. He said, you're going to get tackled 1,000 times. He said, and when you use the word temporary defeat, you're looking at it for what it is. You're going to stand up after being tackled, realize you got a first down, you're still in the game. So I would have wanted to, maybe a little bit earlier, would have been nice to have gotten that lesson. Fortunately, I did still get it at an early age, but it would have been nice to even have it earlier, to never use the word failure, but temporary defeat. And to realize as fast and to learn, this one's a key. Here's a good one. Learn to embrace temporary defeat and welcome it. Learn to embrace and welcome it and not be afraid of it. Because with that temporary defeat, 100% of the time, Daniel, those seeds of equal or greater benefit are always, not sometimes, always there. So with the temporary defeat, we get those seeds. The more temporary defeats, the more seeds. We can harvest them. And my business mentor said, you won't be coming from a place of fear anymore. You'll run up those stairs when everyone else is stagnant on a step because they're afraid to take the next step because they have a fear of failure. Embrace and welcome those temporary defeats, find those seeds and run up those stairs and begin to say the three things I'm going to say right now that my business mentor challenged me to say, that I have said every day in my life for well over 4 decades now. And these three things are, and I pray your listeners hear this, they hear the way I say it, and they begin saying these 3 things to themselves every day. And they are, I will never give up. I will keep rising up, and I will always overcome.
That's awesome. I really love that. I really love that. That is awesome. I'm ready. I'm ready to go.
That's great. To go. Well, I have to tell you, I wish I could do more than just the 12, but it's a time issue. And and I want to just have 12 people that just go, wow, I learned so much, and my business has taken off just because I wasn't thinking, I didn't know this part and that part. The difference between a first place and second place horse is only, a second, but the winnings is 1,000 times, right? And it doesn't take a lot, but for an outside person to say, hey, how about this? And how about that? Have you considered this? So I'm excited about being able to genuinely share with, 12 people and whoever are the first 12. I wish it was for everyone, but I just have, schedule constraints. So for those of you that want to do that, get that form in. It's quick. It's three questions. Fill it out, send it in.
Get straight in. Opportunities like this don't come across every day. So
it's my pleasure. I really look forward to it. And Daniel, awesome. I got to tell you, genuinely and sincerely, you are doing such a great thing with Birmingham enterprise community. And I pray it just gets bigger and bigger and other people start becoming little miniature versions of you. And because that's the way to build. You're building together. Yes. And I've been following you guys. So I'm just not saying this cavalierly. I've been following and watching the comments and I know that what I'm saying is exactly the way it is. So Thank you, BD. You are awesome. I love BD Dalton. He is just an awesome guy. Thank you for referring me to Daniel and look at it. Shows you how when you're a giver. BD said, you should consider being a speaker here. They, because I was on his podcast. And he said these people could really use what you're teaching, and that caused me to benefit and help you. And now I get to be able to bless 12 other people, 12 other business owners, all because BD reached out and was a giver. Yeah. It always comes back. So BD, you are awesome. Daniel, you are triple awesome. And the entire Birmingham enterprise community, you guys are great, and keep building and keep helping each other, make money with each other, not off each other, and watch what happens.
I think that's the perfect place to wrap things up. That's been absolutely awesome. There's so much that I've taken away. I always love these conversations, and to meet people, to hear their stories, to hear their insight, take that away. And importantly, obviously for me and for everybody here, it's as you said, It's about actually going out and applying it. Execution. Ideas, you can have ideas every day, all day, every day. But if you don't actually go out and execute and deliver something, what's the point?
That's so true. That's the heart of it, right? That's the Robin Hood splitting an arrow with an arrow, Daniel. That really is, the ability to execute and implement is so important. So for the 12, whoever the first 12, get the form in right away. I'd hate to have you miss a spot when you wanted to. So for all of you, get that form in, fill it out right away.
Yeah, 100%.
Thank you, my friend.
Anybody wants to hear anything else about Givers University, where should they go?
Just go to our website, giversuniversity.com. Sign up for the free newsletter. It's absolutely free. We're not spammers. They'll get an email that says, do you want to hear from these people? I sign up for something, and next thing you know, I'm getting 10 emails a day from them, and then I go unsubscribe. So we send out one email a week on Thursday, and it's called the Giver's Toolbox. And every single week we send out a new tool that everyone can put in their relationship toolbox to help discerning in their relationships. And it's a weekly thing. Also, they will immediately get right away the free checklist I mentioned about. So the person who asked about how you find a mentor,
yeah,
that person definitely needs to get to the website, sign up for the newsletter, because in a couple days, they'll be able to do a download absolutely free. It's all free. That has 25 deeds. The 25 deeds to look for that someone should be doing when you want to pull them closer in your life. So they definitely should sign up for that. So just go to giversuniversity.com. We are there.
There we go. Absolutely perfect. EA, you've been incredible. I've really enjoyed that. Thank you very much. Thank you, obviously, BD, as you said, the amazing BD Dalton, for getting us together on here. Obviously, for anybody listening in, make sure you've clicked that link. If you've not clicked it already, who knows? You could be too late.
I'd hate to be number 13.
That's it. For all of you again watching, wanting to know when the next thing we're doing is on the 6th of October, Wednesday the 6th of October at 6 p.m. We actually have a physical event for once, which is really fun. Really
awesome.
Fun to get back out into the real world. We have Tara Toombs, I think the Birmingham Queen of PR, coming in to do a session around getting your business seen and heard. So definitely check out the events page for more information about that. EA, thank you again so much. And I will see everybody else next time. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Daniel.